Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're located in the state. My name is Bobby Criswickham, and I am the Public Affairs and Outreach Coordinator for Nebraska USDA Farm Service Agency. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and be on this webinar about the FSA County Committee elections. We're going to review a few things today that'll talk about what a county committee is, and the important role that they play in our agricultural communities locally, what it takes to become a candidate for election, and then a little bit about what it looks like to vote in those elections. You will have the opportunity to ask questions in the Q&A feature for this webinar. I posted a little note in there, so hopefully that popped up on your screen and you'll be able to see where you can post questions that you might have along the way. And then we'll take a look at those, review them, and try to answer them after our presentation. Before I go into our slides, I did want to take the opportunity to welcome to the screen our State Executive Director for Farm Service Agency, Hillary Miracle. Hillary, I'll let you take over.
All right, thanks, Bobby. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. And whether you're with us live or watching the recording later, first off, I want to say thanks for considering putting your name in, or maybe getting someone else to put their name in to be nominated to serve on our county committee. I don't think we can overstate the importance of this role. Our county committees really are the local representation for our farmers and ranchers. It's that advisory board elected by peers to make sure that at every level of FSA, we understand what's going on in your county and what you need the most. I think a couple highlights for me is that our county committees, I mean, after the wildfires this year, I've really seen the power of county committee. It's helping with disaster assistance, figuring out what works for your county, what we're going to need. They help with hiring decisions, and they help us tell the story of FSA and share with their communities and their counties what's going on at FSA. They can be that sounding board for farmers and ranchers to come ask questions. You can carry things as a county committee member to your staff team to say, hey, this is what I'm hearing. These are things we need. We're concerned about this, or we're really excited about this. A great job, and thanks for doing the job that you do. So I can't overstate the importance of county committees and the commitment that every county committee nomination, or if you do get elected, that commitment to make a difference. We know it takes time. We know, as with all rural areas, rural Nebraska, I can speak to good volunteers get asked to do a lot. And so I know we are making that ask, but this particular committee is so very, very important to making sure that we're able to make sure the messaging gets brought back and forth to the county. So I just wanted to say that the county committee is an extremely important link in the puzzle that is Farm Service Agency. And we really, really do appreciate you for considering. Reach out if you have any questions or if there's anything we can do. But again, thanks for being willing to be on, to learn more, and to consider being nominated, whether yourself or somebody else. Have a great day. I'm looking forward to hearing what Bobby shares with us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Hillary, for taking the time to be with us today. So we're going to jump in and talk about some of the basics about what a county committee is. So this is, as Hillary noted, it's an elected advisory board. These are local farmers and ranchers in each county that are elected by their farmer and rancher peers to help supervise and conduct some basic outreach, and basically make some really important critical decisions about FSA programs for their local area. The county committees have been around a long time. Congress authorized them way back in the 1930s. So it's a unique body that we have within FSA that other federal agencies don't necessarily have, especially because these are locally elected boards that are elected by the farmers and ranchers that they represent. Again, the county committees provide critical activities at the county level regarding day-to-day operations within FSA. We have about 2,200 committees nationwide. So every FSA county office would have an FSA County Committee. And so with 3 to 11 members per county committee, that means we have about 7,700 committee members that are elected across the nation. So, Hillary touched on this when she spoke, why are county committees important? What do they do? They are that direct line for FSA at the local level to their local producer needs. They help ensure representation of all producers, so all types of operations, all sizes of operations, including underserved producers, which for FSA, we generally talk about that as beginners, women producers, and then maybe any minority producers that might be in your local area. These county committees help inform producers about FSA programs, again, looking at local conditions, and making sure that we're aware of what's going on in our agricultural communities. Monitoring changes to farm programs, and then helping us recognize those changes and how they might impact local producers. We do have an appointed state FSA committee, and so those folks operate here out of the state office with us. And so county offices can help inform that state committee of changes at the local level and things that might be important for that state committee to take in, determine maybe if they want to recommend some changes, and pass that information up to the national level. And then again, as Hillary noted, you do have, as a county committee, a role in the hiring of the county executive director at the local level. A little bit more on what county committees do. When we talk about advising on programs, you may have the opportunity to help establish reasonable yields for certain crops. You might have the opportunity to look at disaster program applications for reasonableness. Again, you'll serve as kind of a public information and outreach person, so helping your farmer rancher peers at the local level know about what's going on for programs at the county office. And then you also may have the opportunity to hear producer appeals. So for certain programs, producers may have the opportunity to request a review if there's something that they don't necessarily agree with. And the county committee has a role in hearing those appeals before they maybe go up to the state office for review. Hillary touched on this too, because it's been something that our county committees have had, unfortunately, an active role in recently. Some of our disaster programming is implemented or triggered by county committees. So livestock indemnity program is an example where county committee may be asked to look at and review natural disaster type conditions locally and determine whether LIP would be implemented. For CRP, emergency haying and grazing, that program generally drives off the U.S. Drought Monitor, but conditions can change. So you may trigger for CRP, emergency haying and grazing, based on Drought Monitor conditions, but then perhaps the county starts receiving some timely, regular rains, and so the county committee may determine that CRP, emergency haying and grazing, isn't necessarily needed for that local situation. So there's some decisions to be made there by the county committee. Emergency conservation program is one that we've had a lot of activity from our county committees on recently, where you may be looking at natural disaster type of activities at the local level and determining whether that emergency conservation program is needed locally to help producers be able to rebuild after a natural disaster or respond to needs related to natural disaster impacts. So a very important role for the county committee related to those disaster programs and their implementation. So what does that county committee look like? So depending on the size of the county or the number of counties represented by a county office, you can have anywhere from 3 to 11 members. I think in Nebraska, many of our counties do have 3 members. There are a few situations where we have multi-county jurisdictions, meaning a county office represents, 2 or 3 or 4 counties, and they would have more members. Those county committee members serve 3-year terms, and members can serve up to 3 terms consecutively. We do have appointed advisors annually that can represent other classifications of producers if we don't have a person from those groupings of producers that are elected. So, for example, women, minority interests, we may appoint somebody to that advisor position if we don't have someone elected in that category. County committees meet regularly. It may be monthly, but it kind of depends on business needs. And then members and advisors, it's important to note that you are compensated for your time and travels. So you'll get some reimbursement for mileage and a stipend for time in service on the county committee. So just another little chart that kind of shows the difference between elected members versus the advisor category that I talked about. Again, the elected members are elected by farmers and ranchers in their local community. Those members of the COC are voting member, 3 to 11 members per COC, 3-year term. And then to participate as a candidate, you will have you fill out an FSA form 669A. It's really quite a basic form, just asks for some very baseline information to be turned in as a candidate. On the advisor side, again, those are appointed with the recommendation of the local members of the COC, and that's sent to the state committee for approval. These are non-voting members that serve a 1-year term and are recommended or suggested to be an advisor based on a letter of request that they send in to their county committee. Some of the baseline requirements to become a candidate for county committee. You have to be a producer with an interest in farming or ranching operations and participate in or cooperate in an FSA program. Be a U.S. citizen, be of legal voting age, and then basically reside in the county or multi-county jurisdiction in which you will be serving. So this is an example of the map that shows a local administrative area. So here's Seward County, and there are 3 local administrative areas, and these are like voting precincts, basically. Generally, 1 local administrative area is up for election each year. So in a county with 3 local administrative areas, you're going to have every 3 years an election in your local administrative area. You can find what your local administrative area is in your county at this online tool for FSA. It's fsa.usda.gov/elections. And you can type in your address and it'll show you what your local administrative area is. And again, generally, when there's a 3-member COC, 1 local administrative area will be up for election each year. In those counties that have more than 3 COC members, you may obviously see two LAAs up for election in a given year. It just depends on how that times out. A little bit more about the role of advisors. Again, these are appointed positions by the state committee based on county committee recommendations. And again, those are named in counties where there's a significant number of underserved producers, and we lack election of those types of producers to represent that segment of producers locally. We just want to make sure that we have diverse viewpoints and all interests of different categories of producers represented. So it is a non-voting position, and on an annual basis, those folks are appointed. Again, the state committee will take a review of that after county committee makes a recommendation on those advisors. There is an opportunity to also have voting advisors. These are appointed by the Secretary of Agriculture and are based on some statistics that USDA runs, reviewing the categories of producers in each county. So there may be the opportunity for some to be appointed by the secretary. Our focus today, though, is on those elected positions and as well as the non-voting advisor discussion. And then I also wanted to touch on tribes. So our Native American tribes that are federally recognized here in the state can also nominate a representative to serve as a COC advisor. Tribal governments are the only entities that have the opportunity to do this. So if you're from listening to us from an area where there is federally recognized tribe, we do also try to make sure that we have an advisor representing those tribes on those local committees. So we are right now in our county committee nomination time period. It runs through August 3rd. Producers can nominate themselves or others. We do have this basic form. You can see a copy here. Like I said, it's pretty simple. We're just going to have you fill out name, address, certify that you will serve if elected, and then sign it. And then beyond that, we'll fill out the rest of the required information to submit you or whoever is nominated as a candidate. If you are nominating somebody else, we will obviously reach out to them and have them fill out this form and see if they are willing to serve. And those forms must be turned into our local office or mailed by close of business on August 3rd. So a little bit about voting in the election. So the voting period. So once we get through that nomination period on August, with that August 3rd deadline, we'll go through, look at the nominations and get things set up for the voting ballot. That voting time period generally runs, begins in early November and will run through December 7th of 2026. Voters can cast one vote per county office jurisdiction. Folks who can vote must be of legal voting age, and if not of legal voting age, be someone who supervises or conducts farming operations. You also have to have an interest in a farm or ranch as either an individual or as a partner of a general partnership or as a member of a joint venture. And then you also have to participate or cooperate in an FSA program. Also related to Native American tribes, every member of a tribe is considered a landowner if the tribal land is owned or held in trust for the tribe by the United States. So any tribal members who would like to vote in their county committee election just have to be on record with FSA as wanting to vote in that election, and we will get them entered into the database and flagged as eligible to vote and enter them into the right local administrative area so that they receive the ballot for their local area when the election is for the candidate within their LAA. So from a COC election timeline, just a quick review. We are in that COC nomination time period, and that lasts through August 3rd. So that's the last day to file your nomination form and or make sure that it is postmarked or turned into the local office. So August 3rd. And then in early November, we will mail those ballots out to eligible voters. So whatever local administrative area is up for election, FSA will mail the ballots to those eligible voters in those local administrative areas that are up for election. If you don't receive a ballot and you know that your local administrative area is having an election, you can contact the county office and they will make sure that you get a ballot to vote. And then December 7th is that last day to return those voter ballots to the local FSA county office. And then those committees will take over their new position, or those committee members will take over their new position on January 1 of 2027. As far as where you can get more information on county committee elections, obviously you can talk to your local FSA office. I would say your best resource probably at your local office would be your county executive director. They'd be able to tell you a little bit more about the specific their county, who's on the committee, and some of the things that they have had to work on recently. And then you also can always visit the fsa.usda.gov/elections website for additional detail. I know there are some good fact sheets there with some common Q&As as well that might answer more of your questions if we didn't cover them today. So, in closing, or as we get near the end of the slides here, I just want to review that we really want to make sure all eligible farmers and ranchers participate in their county committee election process, whether that is deciding that you really want to serve your local agricultural community by being a candidate and becoming a member of the county committee at the local level, or even just taking the opportunity to vote when the election is open in your local administrative area. As Hillary talked about at the beginning, our county committees really do serve an important role for the local agricultural community. And so we need all the good people we can get in those positions. So really take the opportunity to consider being a candidate and or take the opportunity to vote when the time period comes later this year. And with that, that takes care of the slides that I had for today. I'm going to look here quick to see if we have any questions in the chat. I don't see any questions at this moment. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much for taking the opportunity to join us today. Again, if you have questions that weren't answered today on this webinar, please take the opportunity to contact your county executive director at your local office and get those questions answered. And you're also always welcome to call the Nebraska FSA state office, and you can ask for me, Bobby Criswickham, and I will try to answer your questions as well. Our number here at the state office is 402-437-5581. And with that, again, I will say thank you. Have a good afternoon, and we'll talk again. Bye.